Welcome back everybody to another pomade review. Today we'll be taking a look at another lab-made pomade from a pretty well-known German company, and it is Schmiere Weich, the Lighthold pomade from Schmiere, which is the line of pomades from Rebel 59, and that's a German rockabilly clothing brand. So this particular one over here comes in a pink can, and just always there's that bird mascot in the middle of the tin, and this one is a pretty short pompadour, and Weich, which is soft in German, is marked over here, and the song reference, the rockabilly song reference in this one is Ooby Dooby, which is, we all know, the song by Roy Orbison. The ingredients over here, this one is rather interesting in a way that it's a lot of greasy pomades like this one are usually petrol-based, but this one is coconut oil-based. That's the primary ingredient over here. However, the issue with Schmiere is that it contains a lot of unnecessary ingredients, such as, these weird chemical ingredients you can't pronounce, full of some alcohols, but the main reason why they're there is because they aid in the easier washout. But I still don't really believe that is necessary. It might be more comfortable for the common man to have an oil-based pomade that's easier to wash out than your average oil-based pomade, but honestly, I think this will be just as fine without the, even without an easier washout. So let's just open it up. You just twist it off. You don't screw it. So inside you see a pretty soft looking, there's a bit of moisture on the surface over there because, yeah, I opened it a while ago, and so, it just gets exposed to air and it just condenses. The moisture in the air just condenses in there, so it looks a little wet on the surface. So it has a pretty soft looking pomade over there. It doesn't look too greasy at first. I'll dab my hair first. So that application, I normally apply oil-based pomades to relatively damp hair. So I'll just do that right now. I mean, it might not look super greasy at first. It looks like it has a bit of texture, but once you scoop it out, damn, it's really, really greasy. I mean, it's a lot greasier than I expected. It's sort of like an excessive amount of oiliness that some of you won't even like. And even on your hands, it just looks super oily. Now this actually is just, from my first impressions, when I first opened it up, it kind of looked like it'll have a bit of texture to it and that it won't be super soft. It looks like it has a bit of waxiness in it, but not really. It's still really, really soft, as you can see. It just scoops out like nothing. It's sort of a creamy scoop. It doesn't feel waxy at all. Even though it looks a little waxy, it's mainly a very creamy feeling when you scoop it out and break it down. Like, it's a creamy feeling with a lot of oil. And it just makes your hair feel super greasy, obviously. So for those of you who don't like excessive oiliness in a pomade, you might as well steer clear away from this, because that's pretty much the main issue of this particular pomade over here. And now you're beginning to see the amazing shine. I mean, obviously because it's so damn greasy, you're going to expect a really high shine from it. Now I'll take one last lick and I'll just apply it to the back and sides. Just goes really smoothly through the hair like nothing. Now let's comb it all back. And as you can expect, there is a light amount of control over here, and combing it feels really easy, like almost, it just feels really, really light, and my comb just goes through like nothing. For a lot of you over here, this pomade definitely would not have enough control and hold, but this actually works amazing as a topper if you enjoy high shine. And I forgot to speak about the scent over here. It's sort of a little subtle but not too strong, which is definitely noticeable, and it is sort of like a mixed berry bubblegum scent. It's one of those fruitier scents. This actually works great as a topper even to the original hold, the medium hold Schmiere, because for a medium hold pomade, Schmiere's medium actually has a low shine, so this one actually pairs up well with it. Now when it comes to hold, it has sort of a hold that's somewhere between, if you're speaking of classic pomades, somewhere between the Blue Dax and Murray's Super Light. In fact, I can say that it actually has, Murray's Super Light even has a bit more hold, a tad more hold to it compared to this one right here. So you can tell that there's a very light amount of control. My hair is not exactly going where I wanted to go for a pompadour in this case. Not too much tightness in the sides, as you can see. And just tuck my sides back. I always do need something with quite a lot of a wax ratio. With this one, just some slicks diagonally, but not completely back because of the amount of grease it contains. Now I'll just try to get my pomp forward. With this stuff, if you mix it with other pomades, it really smooths it down. Not really break down the pomade, but more of smoothing it out, which is why if I mix this, if I cocktail with other pomades, getting a really forward shape on my pomade is really easy, but just alone, it's a little bit of an issue. It's kind of tricky because of how light it is. Now we'll just call it done. I mean, because this is a really light pomade, it's not exactly the smoothest looking pomp you'll get, but it is something. So this is what the pomade looks like in my hair. Another, my bathroom lighting right here. You can see everything is very natural looking, and that, you know, whatever my hair's natural flow is, it just leaves it like that. And there are still a couple of flyaways over here, so you can tell this is one hell of a light pomade, but just enough to do sort of a mediocre looking pomp if you don't want anything that weighs your hair down a little too much, but it does make your hair feel excessively greasy. The washout on this one, because of the chemicals in there that aid out an easier washout, it takes only 2 washes for me. In fact, after 1 wash, it feels relatively clean compared to other really greasy pomades, but it's still there. And the buildup still is, of course, there is a noticeable amount of greases to it. Drink every time I say greasy, because this stuff really is pretty damn greasy. So final verdict, there's nothing so special about Schmiere Weich, but it does make an amazing topper if you like a high, wet looking shine. It's not as high as back, short, and neat, and it's a little somewhere along the lines of, it's a tad less shiny than Murray's Super Light. It's somewhere around there, but it's sort of like a nice classic shine. It's sort of like a classic style always pomade that's super greasy, but otherwise this works better as a topper, and there's really there's not so much control. It's just like an almost natural amount of control to it. Definitely more hold than Brylcreem though. There's a good amount of shine. That's what it's mainly designed for, but not so much control to it, and hold obviously. So this is much suited for colder weather, but even in colder weather, it still won't survive the whole day, and the endurance just, it's really light stuff, so you definitely have to recomb throughout the day, but that is expected anyway. So, better topper than a standalone. As a standalone, it's just, nothing too special. I mean, you kind of, it performs just expected, so I'm not really complaining. But if you enjoyed this video and learned a lot from it, please leave a like, comment, subscribe to this channel, click on the bell icon so you don't miss a single upload of The Squinty Show, and I'll see you next time on The Squinty Show.